Nike is no longer quietly experimenting with women's basketball. It is making a declaration, and that declaration has a name. Inside the company's Beaverton headquarters, Caitlin Clark is not treated like a sponsored athlete passing through for meetings and photo shoots. She is treated like the future of the brand itself. Her presence has reshaped the physical space, the marketing priorities, and the internal culture of the world's most powerful sportswear company. Where the walls once told stories of Michael Jordan and LeBron James, they now tell a different story, one centered around a shooter from Iowa who has altered the business trajectory of women's basketball in a matter of months. Walking through Nike's campus today feels less like entering a corporate headquarters and more like stepping into Caitlin Clark's domain. Her logo dominates hallways. Her campaigns wrap entire buildings. Her highlight reels play on internal screens meant to inspire employees, not entertain visitors. When she arrives, schedules pause. Meetings get rearranged. Design teams pivot instantly to her projects. Nike has given Clark something unprecedented in women's basketball history: complete creative influence over how the company presents her and, in many ways, how it presents itself. She does not simply endorse Nike. She inhabits it. This shift did not happen quietly. It happened decisively. Nike identified Clark not just as an elite athlete, but as a cultural accelerant. She brings visibility, engagement, and crossover appeal that women's basketball has rarely experienced at this scale. Her From Anywhere campaign is not just marketing language. It reflects how Nike views her reach. She connects with hardcore basketball fans, casual viewers, young athletes, and audiences well outside traditional sports demographics. That kind of gravity is rare, and Nike has reorganized itself accordingly. But every rise creates a shadow, and as Clark's presence expanded, another star's visibility began to contract. Aya Wilson, a dominant force on the court and a decorated MVP, has seen her Nike footprint steadily erased. Posters vanished. Campaign materials disappeared. Dedicated spaces once associated with her were reassigned. This was not symbolic. It was logistical. Nike responded to the only metric that ultimately matters in retail: demand. Wilson's signature shoe failed to move. Inventory piled up. Discounts deepened. Marketing support evaporated. The market made a decision, and Nike followed it without sentimentality. The contrast between the two athletes could not be more striking. While Wilson's shoes slid into clearance racks, Clark's influence exploded before her signature product even reached shelves. NBA players began wearing Clark-inspired colorways organically. Requests for her designs circulated through professional locker rooms. This was influence without artificial push, the kind brands cannot manufacture regardless of budget. When athletes choose a product without obligation, it signals something powerful. Clark created that pull naturally. Nike's response was to go all in. The company assembled an unprecedented roster of collaborators to amplify her reach. Travis Kelce appeared in campaigns. Jason Kelce joined content shoots around Indiana Fever games. Travis Scott designed custom merchandise tied to Clark's brand. These partnerships cost millions, but Nike understood the upside. This was not just about basketball consumers. This was about culture. The centerpiece of this strategy is Clark's upcoming 2026 signature shoe, a project Nike insiders describe as the most ambitious women's basketball footwear release in company history. Clark did not lend her name to a pre-existing template. She spent months inside Nike's research labs, testing prototypes, analyzing pressure data, and shaping every design decision. Her shooting mechanics influenced weight distribution. Her movement patterns informed traction design. Her game dictated cushioning technology. This was collaboration at the deepest level, not endorsement theater. The technology being built into her shoe is something Nike has never attempted before in women's basketball. Adaptive cushioning, precision-tuned energy return, and structural features designed for deep-range shooting are all part of the package. Nike invested more into Clark's development budget than it did into Wilson's entire campaign, and it did so with confidence. Pre-registration numbers have already shattered internal projections. Retail partners are planning midnight launches. Resale markets are preparing for immediate markups. Everything about this release signals a seismic moment. Behind the scenes, the divergence between Clark and Wilson extended beyond sales charts. Nike values collaboration, professionalism, and adaptability. Clark delivered all three. She arrived early, worked closely with creative teams, and treated the process as a partnership. Wilson, by contrast, became associated with friction. Reports of missed deadlines, creative disputes, and public statements that complicated brand messaging raised concerns. Sponsors pay close attention to these details. Personality does not just shape locker rooms. It shapes balance sheets. The breaking point came when Nike recognized what numbers alone could not explain. Clark's connection with fans is organic. Her engagement is genuine. She does not feel manufactured. That authenticity cannot be forced, and it cannot be replaced by accolades alone. In modern sports marketing, relevance flows from resonance, not resumes. Clark understood that instinctively. Wilson did not. Nike's decision to rebuild its women's basketball strategy around Clark represents more than a sponsorship shift. It represents a philosophical one. The company no longer assumes that dominance on the court guarantees commercial success. It understands that the future belongs to athletes who combine performance with presence, skill with relatability, excellence with accessibility. Clark embodies that blend. As her signature shoe approaches release, the stakes could not be higher. Nike is betting that Clark will not only redefine women's basketball footwear, but also reset expectations for how women's sports are marketed globally. If this gamble pays off, it will influence endorsement strategies across every major brand. If it fails, it will force a reckoning about hype, timing, and cultural momentum. Either way, the industry is watching closely. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a player changing how the game is played. She is changing how it is sold, how it is celebrated, and how it is built from the ground up. Nike has made its choice. The only question left is whether this bold bet will redefine the future of women's basketball or expose the limits of star power in an evolving market. If you found this breakdown revealing, share your thoughts below. Do you think Nike made the right call by building its women's basketball future around Caitlin Clark? Or is this gamble riskier than it appears? Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the stories shaping sports, culture, and power behind the scenes.